All right. Welcome, everybody, to Feelings with the Geekiary, the DragonCon 2015 edition. This is kind of a last-minute thing, so we haven't really done a bunch of planning or anything, but welcome to Feelings. I'm Tara. I've got Bekah here. She writes for the website, and we also have Stephanie and Eve with us. Welcome, guys.
Friendly reminder that this is also a podcast, so please subscribe to us on iTunes so you don't miss any of our feelings. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, please remember that this is recorded live, so we're not exactly sure what's going to happen. So forgive us any technical difficulties or accidental swears.
And never accidental.
Oh. You can join in the conversation with hashtag Geekiary Feelings. I mean, come on. How will we know if we're wrong if you don't tell us?
And as always, our fun disclaimer, we would like to remind all of you that the views expressed on this webcast are those of the hosts and guests as individuals and do not necessarily represent the Geekiary or the webcast itself as a whole. Real quick, our monthly episode of Feelings will air this coming Thursday, September 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so don't forget to tune in. And now, since I'm a regular on here, I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves. Bekah.
Hi, I'm Bekah. I write for the Geekiary. I've been there for a few months now, and this past DragonCon was actually my first DragonCon. I'm super new to conventions as a whole. I got into it with Tara, and I'm really, really excited to be here tonight and excited to talk all manner of deviations.
And Stephanie, where do you tell about your cosplay page and all that fun stuff?
Okay, well, I am Stephanie Lynn. I am a avid cosplayer. I've been doing it for about, I don't even know how long now. I am the Makeup Mama on Facebook, www.facebook.com/themakeupmamacosplay. And I've been going to DragonCon. I think this was my 5th DragonCon, but I've been going to cons forever. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. It was my 4th DragonCon, but I was going to conventions long before that. So, and Eve, what about you?
I am the founder of Some Nerd Girl. Some Nerd Girl WordPress is where we have our blog. We just stood it up. It's awesome. We talk about nerdy things and girly things. 5th year for DragonCon for me. It was my first DragonCon, my first con, really, at DragonCon, and I have not been able to stop going, so I'm a little addicted. I don't foresee the trend stopping either.
Yeah, like I keep telling myself I'm going to cut back on the number of conventions I go to every year, and every year that's like a big joke.
And now I feel like that now that I'm starting to go to conventions, it's going to be...
Yeah. This DragonCon was Bekah's first convention as press, too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but like Conugo was my first one, and I've been to a couple since then. But DragonCon, like, tops all of them.
Yeah.
Sure. I go through phases. I'm like, I don't think I'll go next year. It's kind of expensive, and no, I really want to go. And right after the con, I'm like, I have to go. I'll buy the tickets and the hotel, and it's all done. Yeah. I've made up my mind for the next year.
Yeah, the hotel this year honestly was like a big it was a big thing for the idea of me going next year because they grandfathered in people who stayed at the Hyatt.
That's how they get you.
Oh yeah.
And
we're giving you a little taste.
Come here, little children.
Yeah.
We'll put you up.
Yeah. And we'll actually get into that a little bit more later, I think. First, since now we've all introduced ourselves, I want to talk about the not so great things about DragonCon first. I only have a couple. I really overall love the convention, but there's always some things that people want to bitch about, I think. Do you guys have any DragonCon cons that you want to share?
I do.
Uh-oh.
As a cosplayer, I think it's really difficult because you are walking through and you're in your costumes and you make these elaborate costumes and you work so hard on them, and you do get stopped quite frequently for your pictures, which is fantastic, and it's wonderful to get recognition for it. But I feel that there is no respect for the costumes sometimes, because I've had people come up to me and touch my costumes or touch my wig, or I had one instance where I was in Black Widow and someone grabbed my hair, my natural hair, thinking it was a wig.
Oh no.
And I was
my God.
like, no, this is my hair color. This is my actual hair color. that's one of my only, I mean, that doesn't happen to everyone. Also, I think that as a not as known cosplayer, you get kind of shafted a little bit because everybody wants to see the bigger cosplayers. So
I mean, can we? Yeah. Were you in the Pulse Bar with us on Sunday night when the Yaya Sisterhood showed up?
yeah.
And it was literally just like
God.
2 dozen girls dressed up like Yaya.
There were also a couple of guys too that had the wig on.
Oh,
I
were
saw
there?
later.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Good for them. Yeah, that was interesting.
That's I think one of the only cons, and the biggest con about this con is the hotels.
Oh God.
Hotel, it is the worst thing about this con. It's expensive. Everything is expensive at the con. So if you don't do it properly, you're blowing thousands of dollars just on random stuff. So I think that's the one thing that I have issues with the con itself, and it has made it hard for me to go. In the past, including this year, made it very hard for me to go.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, have any of y'all used Froggy's photos?
Yes.
Because this was my first year. Have you used them before, Eve?
No.
This is my first year doing it, and I only did it because I wanted the photo with the 7 Battlestar people.
I did it too.
And she did it with Richard Harmon.
Yeah.
To be honest, like, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever experienced, but it was a mess. Like, how it's literally like they crowd you into this room and they put you in these
no air conditioning, basically.
There's no, I mean, there's air conditioning, but there's no like air circulation, so it just doesn't. And like they put you like cattle in
like
these
little, like,
narrow lanes that, like, to be honest,
they're taped on the floor.
Yeah, so there's no walls or anything. There's just these tape on the floor, and you're in these narrow lanes. You're crowded in with a bunch of people. Come on Sunday, which is when I did it, most everybody smelled.
Yeah.
And
gross.
I mean, I was just standing there, and I'm like, I'm a pretty like slim person, you know. I don't take up a lot of room, but I was wearing Starbuck, and I had the big holsters and the guns on my legs. And oh my God, like being in that little tight lane, every time I turned around, I was brushing into somebody.
Well,
I purposely avoided the line situation for at least the big popular photo shoots. First of all, depending on what you want to do at Dragon Con is where your cons come from. So my line issue is with the panels. Like, it's not necessarily cramped or anything, but it's unorganized, and it's really disheartening because
I feel like it gets worse every year.
It wavers. It really depends on who it is too, and that's the problem. Is the volunteer people that go there every year and give their time. That's awesome. They're just not aligned. They're not doing things the same way, and so it creates this confusion. And the people that go for 5 years in a row, we kind of remember how it happened last year when you change it up. It's frustrating, and when people don't get into panels, it's frustrating. And the fact that they will squeeze you in those lines, and the whole picture-taking thing is weird to me, because you get like 5 seconds with the people, you take a picture, and it feels very like conveyor belts, kind of demeaning in a little bit of a way.
I mean, and the atrium, the Marriott atrium, like that ballroom, oh my God, the line situation for that it's a mess every year, and like you said, it's like people aren't on the same page. It's not the volunteers' fault. It's really not. They're doing the best they can, like, and I totally respect what they do, because I don't know.
This is the first year I actually cracked open the little like rules pamphlet that they give you, and I'm like, let me read the official line policy so I can school some people. I didn't, but it basically says, line up after the previous panel has been seated or an hour before, and everyone forgets that first part. They are hardline hour before, despite the fact there's like 500 people clogging up the atrium trying to get in line.
The hardest thing about the lines for me is that, like, I did Froggies with my daughter one year, and it was to see Bowerman, and I had her, holsters, and a stroller, because they want the kids in the stroller, because they think, oh, okay, this is easier, blah, 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 blah. But it was torture. I mean, it was absolute torture. And I actually, because of my daughter, we stayed with Bowerman for overtime, and because he wanted us to stay there and do multiple pictures that he wanted. But if I didn't, I had help. I had 2 people helping me at the time. I had, helping me with my daughter and helping me with all my stuff. But if I didn't have that, there was no way I would have been able to do it by myself. So the problem with the lines is, and this happened with Brian Humphreys, if you get your photo done by Brian, who's fantastic, he does great photos, he was the official photographer for Dragon, his line got screwed over. Like, he would tape it, people would cut, people would do this, people would do that, and finally got to the point that people that know Brian and know the people that work with him were basically just like, this is not fair. This is not fair for the people who spent the money, because it's not cheap to get a photo pass, and people just cut. So, and a lot of costumes are heavy, they're uncomfortable, they're hot, they're, you basically are in this costume for the fact that you want to show it off. But unfortunately, the volunteers get a lot of the crap, but it's not their fault. It's what they're being told what to do.
It's really not. And I can't imagine DragonCon doesn't make enough money to invest in some Toyota consultant to come in and tell them how to do lines, because, that's really what it comes down to, just organization.
Yeah, and again, it's definitely about the volunteers not all being not being all on the same page. I know. Also, by side note, didn't Brian Humphrey have one of his cameras stolen?
Brian had a camera stolen the last day of the con, and we did a Kickstarter, and I mean, people obviously were very pissed off, and he had actually spoken to him about it, and he said that it bothered him more so because it's just such a lack of disrespect, but it wasn't about the camera. It was just about the fact that he's been there for so many years. And
well, I mean, and it's also one of the things I saw him say was that it was about the cosplayers who won't get their pictures.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were on that, they were on the memory card on that camera, and that was what really, I saw that they did the Kickstarter and they blew it out of the water. He will get that camera back. That's awesome. I mean, if there's one thing I can say about DragonCon, it's that it's really, as big as it is, it really is like a family.
Yeah.
That it just sucks, all those pictures that got lost and everything. I don't even understand why at a convention of all places you'd steal somebody's camera, especially his.
So people. I mean, there's stuff that's constantly stolen. I mean, it's so many people, and you're jam packed, and it's my major con every year. It's the one that I blow out of the water and I do the most for. But I stay in the Marriott every year, which is torture because of the freaking elevator situation.
That's self-inflicted
so
torture.
I take the
right
stairs. I don't care what floor I'm on. I mean, I will take the stairs. I mean, I took the stairs to the 12th floor every day, every single time, every costume change. In every costume, I was Jessica Rabbit in 7.5-inch heels, and I walk the stairs. You do what you have to do in the Marriott.
I've been on 3rd floor Hyatt, 6th floor Hyatt, and 8th floor Hyatt, and I've always the only time I take the elevator is checking in and checking out, and even checking out. I brought bags this year, messenger bags and duffel bags.
You're
and stuff.
the bag lady going up and down the stairs.
The only thing I needed the elevator for was my cooler.
Yeah.
And getting out on Monday morning, ugh. But another thing I want to talk about, because they've actually, supposedly this is changing for next year, we did nothing but complain about the Sheraton this year.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys.
Did you guys stay at the Sheraton?
No, we did not. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I've been quiet, right?
Yeah.
I gotta talk. Okay. So my first DragonCon, right? And they're like, all right, well, our passes are at the Sheraton. I was like, all right, whatever. So the Sheraton is also home of DragonCon Disability Services, and it's down a hill, but it's the furthest con away, and nothing happens there that I know of that I would.
It's called Trek.
It's Trek.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you want to do the Trek, you're probably okay. Well, yeah. So if you're gonna do the Trek, you're probably gonna stay at the Sheraton, because but I didn't have a badge at the Sheraton. I had a badge at the Hyatt because I was pressed. I picked up my badge there. But I walked with these guys, and it's a nightmare. It's 1,000 degrees in Atlanta in the summer. Not really, it's more 95, but that's still 1,000 degrees. And
it's
so
hot.
it is hot. It's extremely hot. So I was just sweating. I was sweating like crazy, and I'm not the best in shape person. And but Tara's super in shape, and I know that she was feeling the pain because it's brutal.
It's mostly just walking back up that hill.
Yeah, walking back up the hill.
I have bad knees, so really bad.
Also,
and that was my problem. I had to get my press pass after the fact, and then go back to disability services.
So if you have a disability, if you have something that prevents you from, and
if you're professional.